in our democracy. But on the ground, it's contrary. So the issue is that what is the motive? That the lessons are there to learn from PF. You cannot run a country with propaganda. What is critical is for President HH to acknowledge these pitfalls. When you acknowledge these pitfalls, you make changes and advance the interest of the nation, as it were. So for me, that report, I can say who's fooling who. Just that's that.
But the president did acknowledge that, look, this is an international report that has been recognized by a lot of people in his address, and it shows that we're heading somewhere, and this administration is doing everything possible to ensure that
top three.
Yes, democratic countries, so that the country improves.
I've highlighted what's happening in the executive. I've highlighted what's happening at the legislature. What's happening in the judiciary, and you know. The discipline of separation of power is at the very core to thrive democracy. But when that is destroyed, what democracy are we talking about? You know, we can't talk about that. In any case, even PF said, it was said actually that it was a renowned institute which did that study. Of course, some of us, we said, this does sound good, because we know what's obtaining on the ground. But of course, the institute pronounced itself. But reality, harsh reality, always exposes the truth. So you cannot run a country through propaganda. The best I could have done, because already I know who the founder, who it is, and has been an advisor somewhere in some government, and the same model is being applied here. There must be some collaboration. They have an office here, and Njekwa Mate is a manager for this country, and I've been in the field. I know what is possible, as it were. So for me, is that the reality on the ground does not speak to what that report says.
Now, let's look to this issue. I know the president in his address on Friday as well did indicate that we have a national disaster and we are facing some economic challenges that have steered the country's budget for 2024 to be realigned. And he called for unity among political players to come and join. And as of yesterday, we did have an interaction from Sikongo Member of Parliament in Mayungo Simoshi, as well as Kafulafuta Member of Parliament, Mr. Jeffrey Mulewa, who are actually calling for the former president, Mr. Edgar Lungu, and the current president to reconcile so that this can be of a greater solution to the challenges that the country is facing. What is your take on this issue?
First and foremost, there must be a basis of the reconciliation.
Okay.
What is it which went wrong between these two leaders? What went wrong? Is it of personal interest or national interest? Okay. So basically, what it is that there is need to reconcile these differences, but there must be honesty as we go to the table. We must not be one, you say one thing, and two, you do another, because there must be trust. If we talk about reconciliation and national unity, there must be honesty even as we go to the table. Yes, there is need for that.
Yes,
there's need to unite.
But both leaders have said we hold no grudge against each other.
You see, the issue is that actions speaks louder than words.
Okay.
Okay. We have seen how both leaders have pronounced themselves, but rightly so. For example, an example is when President Edgar Lungu pronounced himself is in view of what happened. For example, during Honorable Nakachinda's issue, is in view of what happened. So for me, is that even as we want to advance this issue to ensure this reconciliation and national unity, let us abide by what we promised. You uphold the rule of law. When you uphold rule of law and you are inviting people to the table, there's that magnanimity when you come there. But when you see that these excesses being committed, you know, there are this partiality in terms of how matters are administered at the police, and there are all these. For example, you talk about freedom of speech and freedom of assembly, where the opposition will go to inform the police that they want actually to have their rally. Those rights are curtailed, and all these things are happening. And you ask somebody, come and sit on the table. Let's be honest. There must be magnanimity in terms of the parties. In fact, President HH is the bigger brother in the sense that he has the instrument of power. He has the mechanism to make this happen. And he has the latitude to apply himself in terms of upholding the rule of law. So when something goes wrong right now, HH has a bigger role to ensure that there's cohesion in terms of providing leadership to the nation. So yes, I know and I agree that there must be reconciliation, but we have to reconcile with our pronouncement and how act ourselves. We have to reconcile ourselves in upholding the rule of law. No doubt about it, there's need actually for leaders to reconcile.